Another measure of dispersion is standard deviation. Standard deviation depends on all of the data items. It is more difficult to calculate, but it's more descriptive of the data and is not as easily influenced by outliers. The standard deviation is found by determining how much each data item differs from the mean. We do this in a step-by-step process. First, we have to find the mean of all of the data items. Then, we find the deviation of each data item from the mean. So we do the data item minus the mean. Then we square that answer. We square each deviation. We sum the squared deviations. We divide by n minus 1, the number of data items minus 1. And last but not least, we take the square root, which results in this formula in yellow. Most of the time, when we're trying to find the standard deviation, we organize our calculations in a table. So I'm going to walk you through the calculations for this example. The first thing we need to do is find the mean. Remember, we find the mean by adding all of the data items together. So if I add 15, 17, 20, 23, and 25, I'll have 100. And then we need to divide by the number of data items. There are 5 data items, so I divide by 5, which gives me a mean of 20. Next, to organize everything in the table, I'm going to list my data items in this left-hand column. I'll have 15, 17, 20, 23, and 25. My second step is to find the deviation, to do the data item minus the mean. So for 15, I will do 15 minus 20, which gives me negative 5. Then I will do 17 minus 20, my next data item, to get negative 3. 20 minus 20 gives me 0. 23 minus 20 gives me 3. And 25 minus 20 gives me 5. So I have taken each individual data item and subtracted the mean. My next step is to square that answer. Take the deviation and square it. So in this first row, I'll have negative 5 squared, which gives me 25. Second row, I'll have negative 3 squared, which gives me 9. Then I have 0 squared, which gives me 0. 3 squared gives me 9. And 5 squared gives me 25. So we have gotten through the first 3 steps. We found the mean, we found each deviation, we squared those deviations. Now, we need to start thinking about that formula. It was that the standard deviation, I'll abbreviate it SD, equals the square root of the sum, that's what that symbol means, of the data items minus the mean squared all over n, the number of data items minus 1. We just found each individual data item minus the mean squared. The next thing we're going to do is add them all up. So in this column on the right, we are going to add up all of those answers. The 25, the 9, the 0, the 9, and the 25. That gives us 68. That is the numerator of this fraction. So we have the square root of 68 over n minus 1. N is the number of data items. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 data items. So we have the square root of 68 over 5 minus 1, which is the square root of 68 over 4. We can do that division. find that we really want the square root of 17. When you type that into your calculator, you get 4.123105626. And on the homework or a test, you'll be told where to round, but they did not tell us where to round, so we'll leave that calculator estimate as our final answer.